So many veterans get this wrong. So I'm going to show you black and white that says IBS, yes, is a presumptive condition, or it can be a presumptive condition. And I'll drop the link to the VA's fact sheet on presumptive conditions so you can see this for yourself. I have seen tons of veterans claim IBS is not a presumptive, and I understand why, because when you go to the VA's website on presumptive conditions, it doesn't strictly list IBS on there. Now, there is a GI issue there. Don't worry about that. What we're going to do is we will look at IBS first, and then I'm going to show you all the presumptive conditions, and this does not include the expansion for Agent Orange that everyone is talking about right now. So here you go. This is the VA's fact sheet, the Department of Veterans Affairs fact sheet for presumptive disability benefits, and we will go over all this stuff. But to start this out, so there's former prisoners of war, we'll go down, there's Vietnam, we'll go down. You will find IBS, there's atomic veterans. Let's keep rolling. Here we go. Gulf War and post 9/11 veterans. Now let's read this verbatim. I'm not even going to give you my opinion on it. If you served in the Southwest Asia Theater of Operations, Afghan, Israel, Egypt, Turkey, Syria, or Jordan during the Persian Gulf War and have a medically unexplained chronic multi-symptom illness, that is MUCMI, that exists for how long? 6 months or more, such as chronic fatigue, fibro, and there you go, irritable bowel syndrome right there, plain as day. So to answer your question, yes, IBS can be presumptive under the PACT Act. There it is. There you go. Everything you need to know is right there. Now, what I do want to note is you'll see some conditions like headaches as presumptive. And yes, headaches, tension headaches, migraines can also be presumptive. One of my good friends has headaches as a presumptive condition. So yes, there we go. Under MUCMI, medically unexplained chronic multi-symptom illnesses. And so yes, so all of these could be presumptive. Okay, notice how I'll say could be. It kind of depends. Now let's go back up to the rest of this list. So what is a presumptive condition? You can read the VA's version of that. I'll give you my 2 cents. A presumptive basically means the nexus. A nexus is required for every single claim. For initial claims, that nexus has to link your current diagnosis, your medical evidence, and your evidence other than medical from service to military service, i.e. meaning service connection. For secondary claims, the nexus is medical, and that's linking your current diagnosis to your primary service-connected disability. So radiculopathy secondary to lumbar strain, or mental health secondary to IBS in your back. Looking at presumptive conditions, the nexus is still required, but it's not a medical nexus. It's a presumptive nexus. Now, the magic wand, the magic beans on presumptive nexus is the VA concedes that this condition came from service. So all you need is to be able to meet the time criteria that's listed for that condition. And then the second thing you need is a current diagnosis. Once you have those two things, and only those two things, you will be awarded service connection. Every single time I see a veteran complain that they were denied a presumptive condition by the VA, which does suck, and they swear up and down that they had the evidence, I ask to see their decision letters. And what do you know? 100%, 9 times out of, or 10 out of 10 times, the veteran was not diagnosed. We have got to stop submitting claims, especially presumptive conditions, without a diagnosis. So that's what a presumptive service connection is, okay? The VA concedes, they assume it's connected to service. Now, the top 5 that we've seen recently since the PACT Act have been sinusitis, rhinitis, bronchitis, those will be roped, asthma, and IBS. Bronchitis will rope them. Sinusitis and rhinitis are separate. I should have been more clear. But yes, IBS is a common presumptive, as we just seen. Specifically, I've seen that from looking at my own data. When I say my own data, it's veterans sharing their stories with me. I've seen a lot of IBS claims come back secondary from Afghan veterans. Okay. I was personally in Afghan and Syria, so I would fall, Gulf War and post 9/11s, I would fall into this category. So the question is IBS presumptive for you? Okay, well, if you served in Southwest Asia Theater of Operations, and here we go. Afghan, Israel, Egypt, Turkey, Syria, or Jordan during the Persian Gulf War. So look at the Persian Gulf War. It's not necessarily meaning Desert Shield, Desert Storm, right? And it's weird that they kind of lumped Persian Gulf War into everything here, but then up top it says and post 9/11 veterans. So the Persian Gulf War is what, 1990, 1991, wherever that date is, all the way to right now. That's a Persian Gulf War. So if you were in Afghan, Israel, Egypt, Turkey, Syria, or Jordan, and you have IBS, there you go, black and white, submit that claim. Chronic fatigue syndrome, you'll generally see that in Desert Shield, Desert Storm veterans. I've seen these two, both actually, CFS and Fibro, in the Desert Shield, Desert Storm era veterans. But your OG Iraq Part 2 veterans would absolutely fall into this as well. So looking at fatigue, skin symptoms, headaches, muscle pain, joint pain, neurological, neuropsychological symptoms, all of these things, sleep disturbances, okay? You'll see a lot of TERA exams for sleep apnea, cardiovascular, weight loss, menstrual disorders for females. All that is covered. Now let's go ahead and look at Southwest Asia in Afghan, okay? And there's a few more conditions. I cannot say half of these, so you can just kind of see them yourself. But there we go. So this list is a lot better than the website list from the VA. And I'm actually gonna, on the spot, this wasn't the plan, but I'm gonna show you the website version that the VA has, because it's not as clear cut as this fact sheet. So I will leave this fact sheet here, but let's go ahead and look at the VA's. Okay, here we go. Share this tab instead. Boom, look at that. Let me make myself smaller. Y'all don't want to see me. Okay, here we go. So PACT Act VA claim, blah, blah, blah. You can look at the PACT Act. There's some new stuff expanding healthcare to millions. March 5th, we'll look that up. All right, but let's look at the VA's list on what they have. Gulf War era. There's the country list for that, September 11th. Presumptive, where's the conditions at? I think it's the one above. There we go. Okay. These cancers are now presumptive. I think my head's blocking a few of these. So they're the cancers. And then here, these illnesses are now presumptive. So asthma, bronchitis, COPD, rhinitis, sinusitis, all of those are going to be common. COPD is not so common, but it's roped with asthma and sleep apnea. Excuse me. I'm not even going to edit that out. I want you to see, the raw. Plus, I ain't got time. It's Sunday. Ain't got time for that. Happy St. Patty's Day. Got my Star Wars St. Pat's Day shirt on. But bronchite, you got those. Emphysema, this, lungs, pleuritis, pulmonary fibrosis. So all of that, if you're looking at this list, that's where you're not going to find IBS as a presumptive. And so everyone saying that is doing it so from this list, okay? Now, is it weird that there are two different presumptive lists? There absolutely are. I have no idea why the VA just doesn't include them all in one. There should be one link for all presumptives, not just for prisoners of war, or Vietnam or atomic veterans. We'll look at Vietnam next, but all presumptive. So tinnitus, hearing loss within 1 year, all of that should absolutely be on one list. Someone call the VA and tell them to do that. They're probably not going to, but it is what it is. Okay. So now looking at Vietnam veterans and presumptives, here you go. Okay. It lists out what that actually looks like. Now, this does not include the expansion, so keep that in mind. And then specific presumed conditions include, and here you go. Here are all your conditions for the Vietnam era. The main one that we will see will be hypertension due to Agent Orange exposure. So with that, that's all I got. I'm gonna pin the link below in the comments. It will be pinned in the comments. So if you're looking for it, it will be at the top at the pinned comment. And that's it. That's all I got. Thank you.